12 years old. I am a short, fat, non-athletic Jew, weirdo, loner, outsider. I skipped a bunch of grades in school. I was in college at 15, but during my junior high and high school years, all the kids in my class were 3 and 4 years older than me, and the kids my age were 3 and 4 years back, and my parents were divorced, and my 2 older brothers were 8 and 11 years older, and I had no male peers. And I had nobody around that I could confide in or talk to, and I had no context for some of the emotions or feelings I was having, and I felt totally alone and isolated and just screwed up. And I went to visit my brother, who was in Berkeley, and he gave me this record. And he said, "You can't get this in the United States. Nobody knows who this guy is, but you're really gonna like this." And it was the Ziggy Stardust record. And I remember looking at the record, and like, what's K-West? And then I flipped it over, and in the upper left corner it said, "To be played at maximum volume." Oh God, so goddamn cool. And then Bowie was like crouched in this Victorian red telephone booth with this orange pompadour, like bottom lit in this yellow light. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, God, I'm so strangely attracted to this. And he's a man. Does that mean I'm gay? No, I'm not gay. Then why am I so attracted to it? I don't know. What's going on? I have no idea. And I can't listen to the record because I'm up in Berkeley. I gotta bring it back to LA. So I get the record back, I put it on, and I'm gone. I am gone. This guy is speaking to every hidden and lost feeling and emotion I am having in a way that was so visceral and direct, I literally was shedding tears. And the album, as an album, is one of the most beautiful albums from start to finish. And I remember, the album closes with Rock and Roll Suicide, and when it really ramps up and comes in with all the instrumentation, and that great Paul Buckmaster orchestral arrangements, and he screams out, "You're not alone!" And I'm like, oh God, I'm not alone. And so one day, I'm flipping through the newspaper, and I see this little quarter-page ad. It says, "Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars are coming to the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium." I'm like, oh. And I knew this girl, Lulu. Lulu was 17 years old, I'm about 13. I was completely in love with her, but that wasn't gonna happen. But Lulu had a brand new 72 Mercury Capri and a driver's license. And I had become her A&R kid, right? I was the guy that would go with a lot of people I knew who weren't really friends, but I would kind of A&R their record collection, and I could explain to them quantitatively and qualitatively why Black Sabbath was better than Deep Purple, and back it up with a defensible argument to trace genealogy, and why they must have this first Roxy Music record and forget this other one. Yeah, I was that guy. I'm feeling not alone. So I called Lulu. I was like, "Lulu, I'm getting tickets, so you're driving, we're going to see this concert." She's like, "Who's David Bowie?" I was like, "Doesn't matter. We're going. This is not an option. I'm not presenting this to you like a choice. We're going. We're going to buy loose joints outside, and we're going to see this show." And I'm like, and I'm going, and nobody knows who this guy is, right? Santa Monica Civic is a 2,200 capacity. And I saw a lot of great shows at Santa Monica Civic. I saw Queen there. I saw Mott the Hoople. I saw Aerosmith open for Silverhead. I saw a lot of great shows there. But this one. So I get there. We find the loose joints. And I had 3 catharses that evening that literally changed the course of my life. I can trace it all back to that evening. And I do often. And catharsis number 1, I walked in, and there's 1,900 other kids there exactly like me. And I swear to God, I felt like E.T. I felt like I had found my lost tribe. I was like, I'm not alone. I may be a weird loner outsider freakazoid, but I'm not the only freakazoid. And I felt like this electric bolt go through all of us simultaneously that just kind of made me come alive, and I was just like, fuck. Sorry. I was gonna pre-warn you about that. No need now. The other thing was that I had, and I think even in this short time that we've been together, you will recognize this is completely antithetical to who I am as a human being, but as a kid, for some reason, I completely bought into the idea of authority. And if an adult or a grown-up or a teacher or a parent said something to me, I didn't question it, I took it as gospel. That changed. And that changed that night. So Bowie comes on stage, and there's a whole pre-opening thing, which I'm not going to get into, which was genius and brilliant. And the curtain comes up, and Mick Ronson's there, like, with his gold top Les Paul, and he goes right into Hang On to Yourself. And I, dun, 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 and I'm like losing my shit. And then Bowie comes out from the side of the stage, and he's crouching, and he's in like this multicolored unitard, which you're gonna see, with the orange pompadour, and he's like rocking back and forth like this leopard at the edge of the stage, and he's spitting out these lyrics, and they're hitting me like machine gun bullets. And I realize completely, clearly, and viscerally, and lucidly, that what I'm experiencing right now is completely valid art on the level with Cezanne, Beethoven, Mozart. And that all of the adult authority figures had always told me, why am I wasting my time with rock and roll? It's a passing fad, it's bullshit, I'm a smart kid, I should be studying Beethoven or Mozart. And I'm realizing what I'm experiencing right that second is completely valid. And I thought, okay, what the fuck else are they lying to me about?
Everything.
Followed immediately by the third catharsis, which was I looked at that and experienced that, and I had played guitar and bass since I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I figured out by about 11, I wasn't all that. So I'm looking at Mick Ronson, and Mike Garson on keyboards, and Trevor Boulder on bass, and Woody Woodmansey on drums, and I'm like, I'm never gonna be that guy. And you know what? I'm gonna be a manager. I'm gonna be a rock and roll manager. That's what I'm gonna do. I have to be as close to this as humanly possible for the rest of my life. And I walked out of there with my eyes glowing red, on fire, and I swear to God, I never looked back. By 15 years old, I was managing a band. And today, to be able to manage artists like Jim Morrison or the Ramones or Kurt Cobain,
They're all dead.
well, the Doors aren't all dead, but Jim certainly is. Probably. Anyway, I get to prance with my heroes, right? And I get to do something that I feel so grateful for. And it literally all started with that show. So I saw that show at Santa Monica Pacific. About 5 months later, I saw it again, and this time it was with the Long Beach Arena. And there was 14,000 people there. So from 2,000 to 14,000 in the space of 4 to 5 months. 2 nights after the Long Beach show was this show you're gonna see. 2 nights later, and this was the last one. And Bowie announces it from stage. He said, this is the last time we're ever gonna perform, and everybody was freaked out, and it was. This was the last one, and they happened to capture it on film at the Hammersmith Odeon. The film itself is grainy. It's shot in a very, it's professional, but it's shot in 72, you know. You get the vibe, it's greasy. And when I watch it, I look at the eyes and the faces of the kids in the crowd and how completely they're connecting with this guy who's like this beautiful demi-monde god, and Mick Ronson, who's got all these rough edges and this big honking nose and weird hair, but what's coming out of his guitar set the tone for guitarists for the next 40 years. Sorry for the pun again. And when I watch this and listen to it, I see and hear all the influences, and as you watch it, you think you'll get an idea, and you'll hear where artists like Queen and going all the way forward, and right after it, got inspiration, right up to today. But nobody did it like this. And this show was so incredible. It was a mixture of theater and art and poetry and rock and roll. And nobody had ever seen anything like it. I certainly hadn't. And I think it stands the test of time. And even today, obviously it still gets to me for a lot of reasons, but on a pure art basis, I hope it gets to you the way it gets to me. So sit back and enjoy the show.